Hello and welcome back to another Space Engineers showcase video. In today's video, we're looking at another cargo ship, and this one is called the Hektor Interplanetary Medium Cargo Hauler, which is this lovely thing right here. So this is another small and compact cargo ship for you to use to transport goods from one base to another, or even from a planet to a nearby space station. It features both atmospheric and hydrogen thrusters, so we are good for pretty much everywhere, and we do have emergency parachutes in case you get yourself in a bit of a pickle when you're coming into an atmosphere. Pressing F10 and finding it in the spawn menu, there it is. This thing is 2040 small blocks using the Wasteland and the Decorative Block number 2 DLC packs. It has no mods, but it does feature 3 scripts, which are the automatic LCD screens, the ship layout, and the PAM script. So we'll just give that a little thumbs up, come all the way around to the very front here, and we'll have a quick look around the outside. So with the very front, this is what we get. We got ourselves our standard cockpit to fly this thing around, and just in front of it, an air vent to suck in oxygen to make sure we don't waste any ice that can be put towards hydrogen. Surrounding our air vent, we got some lovely clean steel blocks, which then go over to some LCD screens, which have our scripts, which the white blob over there is the ship layout, and that one is the PAM script. If we were to move further down, we'll see the bottoms of some gyroscopes, or even the tops of some gyroscopes, and then some more steel blocks with a camera with a window in front of it. And just below that, you might be able to make that out, another small LCD screen with the name of the ship on it. To the left and the right of that, we got ourselves some landing gear, which is always useful when you need to dock yourself up somewhere and there isn't a proper parking place. As we move around the side, we've got some good use of the barred window blocks for some added decoration. If we were to put my light on and look over here, we've got some great use of the letter I for some more decoration in the yellow and the green. If I zoom out and start moving around the side, you'll see our large hydrogen thruster as well as some large atmospheric thrusters to help us on a planet. Now as we move further along here, we'll see some more LCD screen blocks with the name of the ship. And I recognise that logo. I'm pretty sure I've done a video recently on another ship by the same creator. But anyway, above that we can see our hydrogen tanks, which is going to be to fuel our thrusters, and down here we can see some more large hydrogen thrusters to help us around through space. As we continue along the side, we're going to see some large cargo containers to store all the goods we're transporting, and they've been surrounded by a little bit of white and yellow blocks. Just dropping all the way down to here, we'll see even more hydrogen thrusters and how they're all been hooked up on the inside. They're moving towards the back here, we'll see what's going to push us along, which is going to be one hell of a lot of hydrogen thrusters. We've got 6 large ones and a lot of little ones to help push us around, and we can separate them. You don't have to use all the hydrogen thrusters at once, you can switch off the small ones if they're not needed. If we take a closer look at the back there, we can see our O2H2 generator, again with some more LCD screens on there, and then over to here, got another spotlight, another camera, some more barred windows, and our connector to unload and load up goods. If we were to come all the way up and above here, behind our thrusters, we'll see some more white blocks, which is just going around our cargo containers, but leaving the access point bare for us to access. And coming along towards the front, we can see the size of some parachute hatches, some more gyroscopes, some more hydrogen thrusters to help on the up and the down. And then towards the front, there is our cockpit. And if we were to come all the way down and underneath here, past our landing gear, there's our atmospheric thrusters to help us on a planet. We can see the bottoms of a battery, and moving all the way along to the bottom there, even more large hydrogen thrusters, even more large atmospheric thrusters, and there is another connector to help unload and load up goods with another spotlight and camera setup. So that is a very brief look around the outside, and it does look great considering how compact and how small this ship actually is. And it's been made purposely to be able to fit into a small gap if you want to say store it on a very small carrier. Anyway, getting into my character, we'll have a quick look around the cockpit setup. So we'll just come into first person, remove what I added, which is that, and now we'll test it out. So number 2 on our hotbar is going to be to switch on and off our spotlights at the front. So switching that on and off, there we go. Number 3 is going to be for our cruise control, which will switch off the hydrogen thrusters at the front there. So if we were to start moving, we won't slow down and we can just cruise along with our hands off the keyboard. Pressing number 3 again will bring us to a stop, and then coming to number 4, it will turn off our small hydrogen thrusters at the back here. So there we go. If we want to save on hydrogen usage, we can switch that off and fly around perfectly fine, like so. Switching them back on and pressing number 5, that's going to be for the hydrogen thrusters underneath So when we're on the planet and don't need the extra thrust from the hydrogen, we can just switch that off to save a little bit of hydrogen and rely purely on our atmospherics. Turning them back on and pressing number 6 will be the camera at the front there to drive this thing around with a nice clear view. Coming out of there, number 7 is going to be for our landing gear to lock and unlock them, 8 is for our emergency parachutes on the top, and number 9 is just a simple button to switch off all the hydrogen thrusters or the atmospheric thrusters around the ship. Switching them back on, they all come back to power and we're ready to go. Coming over to tab number 2, we then got another camera setup which is going to be to look behind, and that is a ship that I'm going to showcase later on. It's got a lot of guns on there, maybe too many guns on there, but it is spectacular to see it shoot stuff. Yes, that's for the camera at the back, and number 2 will be for the spotlight just on the opposite side of our connector. Number 3 is for the connector at the back there to lock and unlock it, and number 4 is for the landing gear at the bottom right there. Number 5, 6 and 7 is going to be for the same setup underneath, so 5 will be to look down, 6 will be for the spotlight on and off, and 7 is for that connector, as well as the landing gear on number 8. Number 9 is another interesting block where we can press that and it will turn off all of our fuel guzzlers, all of our power users, and will put us into essentially a recharge mode, a standby mode, where we can just simply forget about this ship until we're ready to fly, where we can hit that and everything comes back on. Coming over to tab number 3, even more controls for our hydrogen thrusters, where number 1 and number 2 is going to be for our thruster override to move straight forwards without pressing anything. Number 2 is going to be to slow ourselves all the way down until we're disabled. Number 3 is for our thrusters up, so pressing them will switch off the ones at the bottom once again, and 4 and 5 is just a manual toggle for all thrusters on and off. Number 6 is for our hydrogen engine on and off in case we need the extra bit of power, 7 is for our O2H2 generator, 8 for our hydrogen tanks to stockpile, and number 9 is for our batteries to auto or recharge. Then we come across to tab number 4, which is the last thing about this ship, where number 1 is for our reactor on and off, number 2 is for our projector on and off in case we need to repair this ship up after taking damage, and then 3, 4 and 5 is going to be for our PAM script over there, where 3 and 4 is to move this up and down, and then number 5 is to enter and of course to go back. So there we go, we can go back, and we're now back at the main menu. Tab number 5 and 6 is empty, so it's time to fly this thing around. So moving forward with all the hydrogen thrusters turned on, this is what we get. We are bloody fast moving around, and we're going to easily escape when we're in a spot of danger. Stopping as well is bloody fantastic, not as good as going forwards, so we can always do a 180 and boost if we want to stop almost instantly and perhaps even start moving forwards in the opposite direction. Going left, and then going right, we've got a nice bit of speed on there, not as fast as forwards and backwards, but that to be expected. Going down, we're a lot slower than everything else, and then going up, we should have a nice lot of speed. Yes, we do. When we eventually come to a stop, that seems to be a small issue with this ship, is of course moving down, or at least stopping itself from moving up when in space because of the lack of thrusters on top, but it's not too much of an issue at the end of the day. Yes, moving my mouse around, this is what we get. We've got a nice lot of control on here. There's a tiny bit of weight on here, which is always nice to have. It's not too floaty, and it's very, very responsive. So what we're going to do now is come across over to this ship over here, which is called the Salsa. It's a very odd name. There's no information given about that ship. It does look very fancy. You can even zoom all the way in. We'll see all the turrets on there. It's a very good setup. Yes, we'll just go and crash ourselves straight into it, and that'll be that for this small ship. Yes, if you want to download the Hektor Interplanetary medium cargo hauler, there'll be a link to it in the description below, and I'll be back with another video some point soon. Bye bye.